in 2002 a very large pot, like one of the largest events of that year, as esports just wasn't quite have quite the amount of money being put into it, except for very few events that were the exceptions to that rule. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare to get ready yet. So if you're just joining us, this is the looking at some replays from 2002, 15 years ago, from an event that occurred between February and April of that year. A bunch of us in the United States, since there's a North American event, were competing in a ladder to try to qualify for the top 64 bracket to win part of this large prize pool that CompUSA had come with. The event itself is actually mentioned in the 1.09 patch notes, as it was officially collaborated with Blizzard, where they actually made the ladder knowledgeable enough that when you played somebody else on one of these CompUSA ladder games, that it would report the results back to the server and update those stats in real time. The actual logo in the upper left was Gamefixx's official logo too, with the little kid thing. Very unusual. And you can also probably, if you do Google searches, find like old copies of the Gamefixx membership different people could actually purchase and own. To have, because you have to pay a yearly membership fee to be part of this Gamefixx type of program that they were doing that allowed you to compete in any tournament they held for the entire year, which ended up not being that many because they ended up cutting back on it relatively quickly, as it didn't take off as quickly as to the scale they expected it to. So I think beyond this event, they held one other StarCraft event, the Million Man LAN in Kentucky, and I think that they had a third one planned that they ended up canceling. So I'm going to go ahead now and prepare to start this next game. So this would have been myself against Day 9 in that ladder, or sorry, not myself, my brother. So my younger brother and I were both competing, so much like you have Sean Plott and Nick Plott, the Plott brothers. You also had the Anderson brothers, myself and my younger brother, who would play together and compete in these online ladders, and also had our own type of rivalry with them in a little bit of a way. And I'm going to go ahead and start up this Lost Temple game that my younger brother played against them. My younger brother, normally known under the handle Wizard, but playing under PoC-Squared, which stands for Power of Chi Squared. And at this point in time, Day 9 playing under the nickname SleepingDrone. So you have here, as the yellow player in the 9 o'clock position, is my younger brother, Power of Chi Squared, otherwise known as Wizard. And up here at the noon position is Day 9 playing under the handle SleepingDrone as the White Zerg. So this is one of the various ladder games that we played. I'll go ahead and bring up some information on these players as well, as everybody here probably knows who Day 9 is, but if you don't, he made second place in WCG USA 2004 and WCG USA 2005. And his average APM among all the replays that I had of him in this event was about 165, which is on the higher end for the North American player base at this time. So still a developing player, but still getting up there in his APM and his speed, and really starting to be a threat. I mean, even at WCG 2001, while he didn't qualify in that year, he made it very far in the brackets, and he didn't just make it very... Not only did he make it very deep into those brackets itself, but he ended up doing a strategy where he would essentially 9-pool every game instead of going for an economic opener. But he made, even though it was a bit of a cheese opener, work out in the late game. So in other words, he perfected a cheese opening to a great level to where he was able to execute and continue on, even if the cheese did not immediately eliminate his opponent at that event. So somebody who basically was becoming very solid in how he played, very practiced in various builders he was playing around with, and always a threat to play against them. I do have an image of him from 2005. Of course, you've probably seen more recent things, but that was him at WCG USA 2005. So you have an idea as to who the Zerg player actually is, who is currently just opening up with a hatch first build inside of his main base, being very conservative, not wanting to be hit by some type of 9-gate, 10-gate that was popular at the time, that would be designed just to kill the expansion of the Zerg, but if the Zerg did not expand, it would be an auto loss for the Protoss. But Wizard is actually going for a gateway followed with a Protoss simulator, so a relatively standard opening so far from him for the Protoss. They didn't do things like early expansions or things like that at this point in time. Trying to do an early expansion was something Gur had experimented with, but it ended up failing, and it never really took off. It would take years later before those strategies would come out. So my younger brother, Wizard, who is Power of Chi Squared, I also have some information on him. So his player card. He ended up being second place at WCG USA 2002, which was later on the same year of this tournament. So that qualified him for the grand finals in Korea, along with, I believe that year was himself, Ware, and Froz, with Froz taking first. In addition to that, he would place 5th in this tournament, which is a good showing for around $500, I believe was 5th place. And his average APM of the replays I have of him is 144. So it looks like we have the dual hatches here from day 9. He has a spawning pool, but he only got just enough gas to get that speed, which is also another common thing to do. Well, he's built up a bunch of link to try to see if he could put pressure on my brother. But he does have his ramp blocked pretty well with some zealots, so that's likely not going to work out. But at this time, blocking your ramp was not something a lot of players were highly practiced in, so there were always flaws, oftentimes, in how we would place things. So a lot of times Zergs would just simply want to poke and try to see if they can get through it anyway. And with the speed, he can also be able to attack with some Zerglings, get the Zerglings weak, pull that Zergling back, and put another Zergling in front. So even though this is a very good defensive position, he can micro his Zerglings to try to still break through it. So Wizard itself, while that ramp poking is going on, is going for a Forge now and a Pylon. So not much in terms of his tech tree choice besides the Cybernetics core, of course. And day 9 is just now going to go ahead and take his natural with his giving up on his poking. He sees too many zealots up here. He's realized that Wizard is actually building up enough to likely stop that attack, so he's just going to instead make sure that he's contained in his base. And, well, maybe he's going to try one more poke, but I think for mostly it's going to have to turn into a normal game from this point in time. Yep, that Zergling went up there, said, nope, don't want this, back out. So it looks like Wizard is going to go for a Citadel of Adun, while adding on another gateway to bring his gateway count up to 2, researching +1, and just keeping his ramp nice and held there. Day 9, meanwhile, is now getting gas, does have the natural building, and is upgrading now to a layer. So I showed my brother's information before. I'll show that one more time. Also with a, I didn't know that there was, I don't know if you can do a land mode in, I can try that. I'll see what happens. I know that in 1.09 things worked a little bit differently, so I'll try that afterwards. Thanks for the tip. So I'll show my brother's information one more time. If you don't know what he looked like, this was him in 2002 at the Grand Finals with Froz and Ware. Very stylish in their jackets there. And I'll show off more later on in the events. There's going to be many games against him since we're playing inside of this tournament, a lot of them. So it looks like Wizard is going to be moving out. You may be asking why he's doing that. His +1 is about to finish, and his speed is about to finish. So +1's Zealot Rush, or Zealot Attack timing, is actually pretty popular at this point in time. Because if you have that +1 on the Zealots, you can now kill a Zergling with just 2 hits rather than 3. So he's just getting ready to move out. Day 9 was trying to see if he could catch him unaware and try to get up that ramp as the Zealots moved out, but sees that Wizard is waiting on that. So it looks like his +1 has finished, or his speed has finished. His +1 is about to finish. 3rd gateway going up, so Wizard's going to basically go all in with this, try to push out as much Zealot damage as he can. And Day9 is reacting by building up sunken colonies, and he has the Hydralisk Den, so I'm assuming he's going to be building up as many Hydras as he can. The Hydralisk Den is almost done to getting Lurkers, but isn't quite there yet. So here comes the attack. It looks like Day9 has actually maximized the surface area, so he allowed the Zealots to engage the high HP sunken colonies first, negating a lot of their +1 advantage, and then came in with the Zerglings behind. Very smart move by him. So it allowed his Zerglings to do maximum damage from the other side, while the sunken colonies did the damage from the front, and absorbed a lot of the Zealot hits. He's also blocked his ramp with the 2 Lurker eggs, now that he sees that his base is about to fall. So it prevents Wizard from getting up there to try to attack his base. So Wizard's just going to have to focus and just try to focus on getting this hatchery here and getting that killed. While behind this, Wizard is going to go ahead and try to take an expansion with a single tower there, going for +2 and adding in the Templar Archives. Here it looks like these Lurkers, of course, are going to push back these Zealots, as there is no detection here from Wizard to possibly stop that. But he is going to try to get some pot shot in as Day9 tries to unburrow and reburrow these Lurkers themselves. So behind this, so you have basically Wizard trying to pick up these Lurkers before they get to his base. Even if they do get there, it won't matter, as there is a Photon Town in there. But he may be going for some type of contain. Or this Lurker may just be... yeah, there it goes. So that'll help make it more difficult for Wizard to leave. He'll have to try to like shimmy around this edge here to not get hit by that Lurker spikes, and at least try to take some of the pressure off from what Day9 was experiencing. So Day9 is retaking his natural. It looks like it's now about 33 food to about 52, so Wizard has a bit of an advantage right now. And from here, basically, I think his main focus will be more on not dying, trying to make sure that Day9 hasn't expanded somewhere else. So we have a, these Zealots trying to likely try to see if they can find another base, but Day9 refusing to allow Wizard any information. So Wizard can't be certain that Day9 doesn't have another base that's still giving him economic output, and therefore will either have to check them at some point later or play more passively, because he doesn't know exactly how crippled or uncrippled Day9 may be. So we have 65 to 35. It looks like Wizard is still upgrading for that +2, getting a Protoss Observatory now to counteract the Lurkers, along with having a robotics facility. Day9 is mostly going for offensive units. He transferred some of his drones back from his main that he had previously saved, since he didn't lose all the many drones from his natural when that attack came in. And is just trying to now bring himself back into it. So Wizard here has 2 Archons and High Templar and a pretty good defensive position, so there's not going to be much way that Day9 can do much against this at the moment. And it looks like he's even going to proxy hatch. So Day9 going to do another thing that was also popular at the time, was this whole containment. So in other words, you use Lurkers, a mixture of ground forces, and then you also use sunken colonies to try to make an impenetrable wall against the Protoss ever leaving their natural expansion. So that's probably not going to fly. It looks like Wizard should be able to push through this. And he's going to have to cancel that offensive hatchery. Unable to get it off, and Wizard not allowing that to finish and make that kind of containment give him problems later on. Day9 is going to have to throw down some sunken colonies again. He does have some defenses at home, but he is behind on food at the moment, so he's going to have to try to rush to defend against this upcoming push. And Wizard says, nope, don't want that right now. I think I'm going to back off. Regroup a bit, and then try to see if I can do this again. So it looks like Day9's he's actually pumping drones during this, so I'm guessing he thinks that since he held the attack, he can go ahead and macro up a bit, try to get some more drones going since he had to spend so many of them building these sunken colonies. But it looks like he's pretty well contained. He doesn't even have anything in terms of another base out that he really needs at this point in time. So somebody's asking what LT version this is. I believe this is the original LT version. I can't remember. I know the finals were actually played on a different one since I broadcasted those with Ware earlier that I'll be showing off later. So the Ware was in the finals of the CompUSA tournament, which is a different version. So I don't know if they played a different version of the grand finals, but I think that this is the original LT version that existed. This one actually has a lot of imbalances, such as if you spawn at this position here, you only mine at 85% the rate of every other starting position. So basically, if you start here, you're kind of screwed. Along with a few other things, like there were other places that had mining for your gas was inefficient. In some positions, I think up here was like only 95% mineral efficiency. Day9 trying a little bit of a drop here, but not having the number of units to do any damage. So that's cleaned up pretty nicely. So we have Day9 here at 51 food. He's supply blocked at the moment, so he's just, I'm assuming one of these should be an Overlord. Oh, he seems to be a bit behind on that. There it goes there. Wizard picking off an Overlord at the south, which will even supply block Day9 further. And meanwhile adding in a third base himself, loading up 1,600 resources, by the way. So, could be pushing a little bit harder with his advantage here if he would spend his minerals. But again, perfect macro at this time was not something that existed, especially as you start adding in more and more expansions. So pretty much a lull in the action right now. So I'll go ahead and bring up Day9's info one more time for those who might have missed it or joined us right now. So he was again second place WCG USA 2004 and 2005, first place in WCG USA 2005 to qualify for the WCG Grand Finals of those years. And overall, a very solid player at this point in time, went deep in the WCG USA 2001 brackets, and was a Zerg player who not only would pull off cheesy moves, but knew how to actually recover from those cheesy moves, and also could play a very solid style as well. Particular, since I had only average APMs up on that screen, is Day9 is playing this particular game with 161 APM, whereas Power of CompUSA or Wizard is playing it with 147. For effective APMs, Day9 was 110, 32% redundant, with Wizard at 106, 28% redundant. So a bit difference in the APM, but Day9 at this point in time, and as we'll see later on in later games, was starting to practice a upcoming philosophy of always be clicking your ABCs. So essentially constant movement to ensure that his speed and his mouse speed was always up there. So we have a push coming in from Wizard here as he tries to see if he can take out this expansion again for the second time this game. And it looks like that's it. So Day9, under the alias SleepingDrone at this time, ends up leaving.